Namaste, namaste everyone. Very warm welcome to Satsang today. Sadhguru Shri Muji Baba ki Jai. Now what I'm going to say, we have to look and answer, okay? Because I know that we already know the right answers. So not mental answers. We have to look and we have to answer. What do you need to exist right now? If you like, okay. Effortless. Yes? Is there something holding up this existence? Don't know. Supporting, holding up. Huh? Supporting, not preventing. This existence inherently, naturally, do you find that there is a sense of lack in it? Is there something, a sense of something missing for it? Nothing is missing. So for this original I am, original existence, there is no such thing as desire right now, in this moment. Because nothing is missing. Desire means that something is lacking in me and I want. So your existence right now is empty of desire. Again, just simply in existence itself, is there any sense of duality or separation?
No, only existence is
Only existence is there. Yeah.
I look at something, trying to see if there is a here. That is
Yes. Is there a separation between that which is trying to see if there is duality and this existence itself? The perceiver or the looking and that which exists. Is there a sense that there are two of them? Seems to be one. Now again, just in this simple existence itself, is there a sense that it is doing something or not doing something? The idea of doership also is not inherent in our existence itself. So this 3D ego, as I call it, duality, desire, doership, it is naturally not present here. But is this sense, after that, what happens natural to your existence right now? So let's see, after that, what happens? Let's see. So that was then. What about now? Now. So if it continues to be like this, we came to Satsang for what? To come to the end of ego and to come to the discovery of the one truth or one being, one God. Done? It's as simple as that. Now the question comes, after that what? Is it?
Yeah.
If to remain in that was difficult, if to remain always in that was difficult, then I would have to have pulled some of you back to this. When we did the exercise, we started just in a moment and all of you saw this. So therefore, naturally you were in this. So it must be another false idea that I can leave this actually. So the secret is that it is not that to remain in this is difficult. It is to leave this is impossible. Nobody has left it and shown. You cannot leave the truth because then the truth will also become the changing. The truth is the unchanging. That's why when I ask you, can you stop being now? I don't have a preliminary practice before that. I don't say do 10 rounds of surya namaskar, then come to this. Can you stop being? Because I know that whatever your state might be, whatever you might believe about yourself, you are this being. See, this being is here effortlessly. So it is not really a question of what about after that. It is more a question of when will this what about after that stop being attractive? Because there is nothing after that. There's really nothing after this. And every day we discover the magnificence of this discovery, which seems so natural. We're sharing how this being is that which contains all things. And these can be beautiful insights that come to you organically. I don't have to force them down your throat. You see, and don't get a sense that, okay, this insight I don't have yet, that all time and space is within me. So don't make that preconditioned to anything. Let that flower on its own. But this much is enough to see that that which is truly here now, the presence of which I taste, does not have any sense of duality, doership, or desire. And this is true for any time. That's why I can just walk into satsang and say, okay, look, and this is true. That means it always must be this. Okay? So it is actually always like this. You don't have to do anything to remain in this. Now, the mind which has no true insight about this, you see, will say, is this it? You see, but it has no idea what it is saying. Because that which has been found is beyond all things. Mind will say it can't be as simple as this. But what's the big deal in this? Where are the fireworks in this? Where is my knowledge of all the past and future that I was supposed to get? Where is the immortal body which I was promised? That was just the false marketing of spirituality. This one, I was here in the third standard or something like this. And my father's always worked in the computer industry. So what happened is that he said to me that we have this computer at home. I was very small. He said, if you just type out what this book says, then you will start to see these cartoons. There was some illustration in the book. He said, if you just type out these things, then these cartoons will come on the screen. So I started typing. And I saw that the cartoon was not coming, but other things were happening. Like hello world, and some circle was coming on the screen. So he told me the and I enjoyed programming. Since then I'd always been programming till my college. So the marketing was just that these cartoons will come. They never came, but different things started to happen, which I found were even more uh, amazing than just some cartoons coming on the screen. So whether the promise that attracted you was an immortal body, some super siddhis, you see, whatever the promise might have been, those were the cartoons in the book. But what you're finding is worth a lot more than that. You're finding that simply and naturally, you are that which cannot be attacked, cannot be affected. Everything might happen in this world, but nothing can happen to you. The coming and going of millions of bodies, but you remain untouched. This being you are discovering for yourself. So simply, just in one moment of looking.
If you say something scared to die,
Something is
scared of death or something.
something is scared of dying. Yeah.
From some idea and by somebody idea start disbelieving.
So he says that feels that there's something which is scared to die, and that becomes a reason for me to go back to my belief in the limited one. So don't be scared of this fear, firstly. Allow it to come. Is it here now? So as it comes, just see what it can take from you. Be completely open to it. Even if the body starts, big fear comes. Allow and see what happens. In fact, if you can have a slightly welcoming attitude, that's even more powerful. So come, I'm here. Then you will discover that this one is just another one of your children, just wearing a Halloween mask or something like that. It is nothing, but just another energetic movement within you. All this can seem strong as long as we believe the limited idea about ourselves. Once you see that you are that space in which even this fear comes, you are that space in which the fear of the unknown, the fear of death, all this will come. And we've experienced these things many times. But we are still here. The being has remained untouched, unaffected by all this spectrum of the sublime and the horrendous. Sometimes anger can come, sometimes fear can come, sometimes all different qualities of the emotional spectrum can appear. But as you allow yourself to remain motionless, you don't even label what they are, then you see that the reality of your existence, these are just little bursts of microwave popcorn in the microwave. Nothing will happen to you. Like nothing can happen to the space of the kitchen. Even if you make 100 kg of popcorn, space is just a space. You are that space in which this space comes. And I was so happy the other day. I've been saying this in Satsang very often. And then I found a beautiful quote by Bhagwan also, who said that even this space comes within the space of your being. An energetic appearance or an object, let's call all energetic appearances objects, whether they're perceived through these senses or perceived inwardly as some sensational movement. Let's for a moment call everything an object. Can an object affect something which is not an object? Is it? So objects can interact with, can affect, can attack or defend against other objects. But what you are finding about yourself is that you are not an object. So how can this fear object, fear perception actually affect something which is not an object? It's like saying, I'm going to burn a fire in this hall and I'm going to burn the space. Okay? Can we burn the space? We can burn the air in the space if we have some really advanced technology. We can pull all the air out of it. We can make it a vacuum. But that vacuum was also in that space. So that space remains untouched. And you are that space in which this space is perceived. Your existence, when you exist, first thing in the morning, I wake up. I am wakes up actually. With I am waking up, all of this functioning of time and space happens. Before that, nothing. So you are that space in which this space wakes up. And this space itself remains unaffected by anything. So how can that from which this comes be affected? Okay? So I'm just giving you these pointers so you can check and verify for yourself whether all this is true. Okay? Not just on the basis of belief, not just on the basis of inference, but for you to actually check. Then all these notions of inside, outside, before, after, they all start to fade away. Bhattacharya says, here is total hopelessness towards life, failed in everything, and lost interest in everything else. Why is it happening? Does it happen in this path? Yes. Many times it does happen in this path. But one of the best things which is available in this world is to the living embodiment of the Sadguru. Whatever form appeals to you the most. Like in this form, the form of Guruji appeals the most. So you have to find that embodiment of the Sadguru which appeals to you the most. And then when that one is holding your hand, then nothing seems so hopeless actually. Otherwise, in this journey, as everything that you felt was important, was relevant, all beliefs that you held about yourself, as a it's a quite a destructive process from the perspective of the mind. As that is happening, you might feel like there's a great meaninglessness to this life. But then when you meet the master, you find a beautiful joy in this meaninglessness. You see? Where you could be saying, what's the point of all of this? I'm so hopeless, this didn't work and that didn't work. There is really no point in anything. Then you come to this place where you're like, wow, there is no why for anything. There is no point. It's like a child. He's not trying to figure out the point of playing. A child does not go to the playground and say, okay, I'm going to make a point of why I'm going on the swing 100 times. What is the point of doing that? And you see that it is just. There is no why. These days I've been saying this. The answer to all why is consciousness. You see? And I've also pointed out, and I know for a while you've not been here in Satsang for a bit. So I've also pointed out how the mind is so attracted to this why question. You see? WHY, and so unattracted to the who question. WHO, just one alphabet different. They keep saying why this, why me, why like that. But hardly ever will be inclined to ask who. Whose life is this? You see? So, for the limited idea we have about ourselves, when we come to this meaninglessness, it is a very oppressive concept, almost like nihilistic in some way. Like these depressed philosophers. Very, I love philosophy, but nothing against philosophy, but it can take on this form of this nihilism, which is depressive nihilism. But as you meet life as that being, which is the light of this life, which wants nothing from this life, it's just experiencing its own being in multifold ways, in all the colors, in the joy and the disappointment both. As you meet life like that, then you see that it is a joyful meaninglessness. And when you're empty of this limited notion about yourself, then you see the meaning of this life but it is not something that you can elaborate, not something that you can articulate. If somebody comes and says, "What did you find? What was the meaning actually?" I say, "Yeah, just," some might say, "just to be." Is it? Just to be was the meaning. But some might say that even that is not really the meaning. If the meaning is completely non-conceptual, so you can't really articulate. So change the question if you can, from why to who. If you can't change the question from why to who, then leave everything to the master.
About allowing it to take over. Is that a choice made by anything? Is that a choice, or is it just an apparent choice?
This, coming to this allowing, or picking up interpretations or notions about, these are the only two positions. What is happening anyway. So this one is consciousness itself playing with its power of belief or dropping its belief. So the only choice maker is consciousness itself. Now consciousness has these very primal forces, one of them being the power of belief. See? When it chooses to exercise this power of belief, then it puts on the pretense of individuality. See? That one never actually comes into existence, this individual. So therefore it can never have choice. The only choice is this play of consciousness that is playing with itself. So this satsang is just consciousness reminding itself why you consider yourself something limited and you resist certain emotions. See what you are. You are this limitless one. Allow all this thing to come into it. So this is a monologue that consciousness is having with itself, because that is how it wants to experience this play at this moment. When we say, who would make that choice? So I say, okay, let's make it a multiple choice question. So the first option would be, if there is an individual entity who would make that choice. That one we look for, we can't find. You see, so the one that doesn't exist can't make any choice at all. What is the next option? What is here actually? Consciousness. This is the dynamic aspect of your own self. This consciousness, which is what I call the light of this universe. So that is here. So this one seems to play in this way, isn't it? That when these ideas come, it seems to latch on with belief, and sometimes when ideas come, it doesn't latch on with belief. So what we call the God now or me now, the only seeming choice for this one. So it is playing with this choice of choosing individuality or remaining as God itself. That's why when Guruji says Satsang is rehab for God, by God, this is what it means. God reminding God that it has just been playing with this trouble of individuality, and now it is designed in the system, this alarm clock, which comes and says, why you do that? It is not really true. It's a game which has gone too far in a way. And then you could say, what is the third choice? You might say that absolute, non-phenomenal, that has no concern with any of this anyway. That's why satsang is consciousness speaking with consciousness. It's always been consciousness speaking with consciousness only, but for a change as consciousness. You see, mostly consciousness has been speaking with itself as if it is personal, individual.
I'm asking because there have been a few times when I reach like feels like a death is going to take over.
Yes.
And it's like I'm just like I fall into this identity where I'm deliberating. It's like, oh, do I really want that? Do I really want this to happen?
Isn't it natural for this thing to happen like this? Where I don't feel I would have said incidentally that allow fear to take over. I just was saying that see if it can, as you welcome it. You see? Because it can never take over. That's the whole point actually. See? It can seem like it's coming to take you over, but actually it is just a tiny energetic movement within you, this entirety of the space that you are. You see? So even if it feels like, oh, it might come, and when it comes, it might take me over, we allow it to find that no, this fear is here, but also I can hear these words coming from Ananta's mouth. Are both of them in the same space or a different space? You find that in the same space, other perceptions also continue to happen. So nothing is completely taken over. So then what happens is that the mind uses this opportunity for the best sort of guerrilla warfare. Because some energetic movements happen, then say, you're going to die, you're going to die. Do you really want this now? Is it like that? I used to share often that once I had this experience before I met Guruji. Once I said, today is going to be the inquiry and I'm not going to leave it till I find myself. Yeah? Very, very like, full motivation to do the inquiry. So I sat in the inquiry and to the book, okay, inquiry to the book. Bhagavan said, a thought comes, don't resist thought, find out who witnesses that. Okay? So find the witness of whatever might be perceived. The inquiry was happening to the T. Something started becoming very still. Everything. Maybe there was some perception of breath. I don't know if there was much else beyond that. There came a point where even that stopped. Everything. Nothing was being perceived. Just empty. And then the mind came and said, stop this. I'll give you a good life. And the mind itself said, deal. You see? The mind says, stop this, I'll give you a good life. And the mind itself said, deal. And here, I made a deal with the devil. I was there, I was finding the self. And I just made a deal. You see? But both were just energy constructs of the mind itself. You see? So it pulls out all these tricks and says, oh, you might die. See? Is it really worth it to die for this? You know, these kind of things. I don't know what it is whispering to you when you start to liberate, but just now, just let it come. If it says, come, I'll give you a good life, come, deal, no deal, whatever it's saying, let it come, let it go. We seem to latch on only with this power that we call belief. It's nothing but giving truth value to something which has no inherent truth in it. You know what I mean? Like assent to something which is just a concept which is coming about. So consciousness seems to latch on with that and picks up the pretense of some position, some individuality with that. So not necessarily so much to say I start deliberating. This we can notice that the mind starts offering up these notions. And sometimes I seem to latch on to these notions, and sometimes they're just allowed to go. And more you'll find that as you see that they don't apply to any real thing here, none of these notions are really valuable. And as they lose their meaning, it just becomes simpler to let go of. Did you play with these dinky cars as a kid? Hot Wheels, these small cars? So at one point here, I don't know why maybe I'm preparing for the interview, why these childhood stories are coming. The time in his life, I used to love those small dinky cars, and anytime a new model would come in the market, I would tell my dad, let's go. You have to buy that. You see? So at that age, if this thought of this new Hot Wheels car or something would come, convertible, something would come in. It was very attractive. But then as you start to grow, then you see that if this thought came now, this Lamborghini convertible new dinky car is there, is it? You go and buy it. There's no meaning here now. So in the same way, as you're discovering what you truly are, you're discovering your limitlessness, and the mind comes with these offers, and you've outgrown them. So both the recognition of what you are and the dropping of belief are a beautifully interlinked process. As you see what you are, then belief doesn't go so automatically. And as belief doesn't go so automatically in these notions, then it gives you more space to recognize what you are. Is it? And so this is what I call the virtuous cycle. There's also a vicious cycle. Every time you believe something yourself to be something limited, you operate from that place, then it says, okay, yes, you are this one. You are this one who's interested in buying a car. Then every time somebody comes and says, go check out this one. This one has this engine, and this one has that, whatever. Then more and more get caught up in that identity of the car buyer or something like that. So that one moment of recognition, empty of notions, pulls you out of that vicious circle. And then these notions are not so attractive. So that's the only game that consciousness seems to be playing. God now or meow? So this being that we were introduced to right in the beginning of Satsang, what else can come which is more worthwhile than that? Self. Okay. So this self, which is apparent when you come to the recognition of this being. So this one self, both the phenomenal and the non-phenomenal aspects of that. What is greater than that? This is naturally present. It is just here when we look. This is naturally present here. Now it is naturally present. Now, what could come that is worth exchanging this one for? Suppose the perfect man showed up. Perfect man showed up. He just walks into the Satsang hall like, oh, the perfect woman for the man. Thank you. Okay, there goes that example. Suppose something came, an offer came. It said, okay, it's a different offer. Okay, listen. The offer came. It said, just leave all this being and spend the rest of your life working on this project, and by the end of your life, you will have $50 million in the bank. Okay? Worthwhile exchange? By the way, I'm not saying that any of these things are bad. See? In the flow of this life, they can happen automatically. I'm just saying that would you exchange this being, which is just naturally present here, for any notional idea which has an offer attached to the end of it? All of this play of relationship, money, health of the body, all of this can happen naturally. It's fine. But I'm saying that what is it that we are giving value to now? And if you see that that which is the most valuable, like Amma said, the most valuable is already here with me now. Then you see what I mean by play. Then the rest of it just becomes the play. The child is not going to the playground feverish about getting something or scared about losing something. Just playing. So then this you truly see is the play of consciousness. Free from desire and aversion, free from doership and non-doership, free from duality and even the concept of one. Remain in your notionless existence and see how life becomes a play.
Something. What is being actually? Because when you asked us to look to exist, it became very imperative that there is no body to this existence. Boundary to this
No
existence.
boundary to this existence.
And it was amazing to find
Yes.
out. Okay.
Yes.
But this beingness somehow is more with the body. Being, body,
So,
and presence.
one that I am calling being is that existence to which there is no boundary. There is like a tasting of being which seems to be contained in the body, like the fragrance or the presence of this one. You see? That is just an aspect of this being itself. That which I'm pointing to has all these byproducts. You can say, I experience a lot of just presence, or I experience a lot of love, peace, joy. You could say all of these. But these are the byproducts of just existing, of just being.
So, yeah, because generally being is used in.
All notions have been attached to being itself. But we are none of those.
This existence and without it. There is no boundary.
No boundary.
And who can decide offers and stuff?
Just the same being. Same being. That's what his question also was. That who decides to pick up the offer or not? Just the same being itself. Same consciousness, which is playing with all of these. It's like children playing doctor or something. So this play identity.
Existence is simply is.
It just is.
There is no playing.
So all of this is also within existence or not? And there seems to be apparent movement in this. That apparent movement in this is what we call the play.
When the play is happening, sometimes the same consciousness likes the play,
Okay. Consciousness always likes the play. That is why the play exists. Nothing moves without the will of consciousness. You see? So now sometimes consciousness likes to play as if the individual is liking it, and sometimes it likes to play as if the individual is not liking it. from the level of consciousness, we're never really saying that this is happening without consciousness liking it, because that would actually mean that it's contrary to the will of consciousness. See? Nothing has ever happened contrary to the will of God or consciousness. It's all the will of God itself. See? So God is never putting itself into something that it doesn't want to taste. Once we start accepting that, it's another way of saying that everything is the grace of God, or everything is the grace of the Master. So, of course, it can play the roles, just like we go for these tragic movies, yeah, these tragic plays like Romeo and Juliet, people like to watch. Nobody, no, if you ask anyone, you like to cry? Say, no, of course I don't like to cry. The same ones might go for these tragic plays. So there is some joy in experiencing that taste also for consciousness. So sometimes sugar, sometimes spice, consciousness playing with all the contrasts. Shall we sing a song? Sing the like. And then Shakti, after the broadcast, Shakti can stay back for a bit and speak to her about something. What are we going to sing? Yeah? Yeah. We'll start with we can start with we can start with Mujiba. Then we
Muji Baba Sadguru, Muji Baba Sadguru, Muji Baba Sadguru, Sadguru Omkar, Muji Baba Sadguru, Sadguru Omkar, Muji Baba Sadguru, Muji Baba Sadguru, Muji Baba Sadguru, Muji Baba Sadguru. Muji Baba Sadguru, Sadguru Omkar. Muji Baba Sadguru, Sadguru Omkar. Omkar Sadguru, Omkar Sadguru, Omkar Sadguru, Omkar Sadguru. Omkar Sadguru, Sadguru Omkar. Omkar Sadguru, Sadguru Omkar. Omkar Sadguru, Omkar Sadguru, Omkar Sadguru, Omkar Sadguru. Omkar Sadguru, Sadguru Omkar. Omkar Sadguru, Sadguru Omkar. Parabrahma Sadguru, Parabrahma Sadguru, Parabrahma Sadguru, Parabrahma Sadguru.
सद्गुरु सद्गुरु ओंकार पार ब्रह्म सद्गुरु 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 सद्गुरु ओंकार पार ब्रह्म सद्गुरु सद्गुरु ओंकार सद्गुरु नमो सद्गुरु नमो सद्गुरु नमो सद्गुरु नमो सद्गुरु नमो सद्गुरु ओंकार सद्गुरु नमो सद्गुरु ओंकार सद्गुरु नमो सद्गुरु नमो सद्गुरु नमो सद्गुरु नमो सद्गुरु नमो सद्गुरु ओंकार सद्गुरु नमो सद्गुरु ओंकार बाबा सद्गुरु मोजी बाबा सद्गुरु मोजी बाबा सद्गुरु मोजी बाबा सद्गुरु मोजी बाबा सद्गुरु सद्गुरु ओंकार मोजी बाबा सद्गुरु सद्गुरु ओंकार मोजी बाबा सद्गुरु मोजी बाबा सद्गुरु मोजी बाबा सद्गुरु मोजी बाबा सद्गुरु
You can just move the camera to him. They won't hear you. You have to come close. Give him a cushion on this one. If it's too uncomfortable down. Yep.
सत्यं ज्ञानम् अनन्तं ब्रह्म 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 सत्यं ब्रह्म
सत्यं ब्रह्म
ज्ञानं ब्रह्म तं ब्रह्म सत्यं ज्ञानम् अनन्तं ब्रह्म सत्यं ज्ञानम् अनन्तं ब्रह्म Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma.
Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma.
Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma.
Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma.
Satyam Brahma.
Satyam Brahma.
Jnanam Brahma.
Jnanam Brahma.
Brahma.
Tam Brahma.
Satyam Jnanam Anantam 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 Brahma.
Satyam Brahma.
Satyam Brahma.
Jnanam Brahma.
Jnanam Brahma. Tam Brahma. Tam Brahma.
Satyam Jnanam Anantam.
Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma.
Sweet. You sing that before the Ribu Gita chanting, we want to sing the Krishna Mandi or Mandi? Narayana Mukunda Krishna Gopala Hari Narayanaya Mukunda Krishna Gopala Vande 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 Krishna Gopala Vande 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 Krishna Gopala Hari Narayanaya Mukunda Krishna Gopala Hari Narayanaya Mukunda Krishna Gopala Vande 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 Krishna Gopala Vande 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 Krishna Gopala Shri Krishna Vaikuntaya Krishna Krishna Gopala Shri Krishna Vaikuntaya Krishna Krishna Gopala Vande 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 Krishna Gopala Vande 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 Krishna Gopala Radhe Krishna Gopala Radhe Krishna Gopala Radhe Krishna Gopala, Radhe Krishna Gopala, Vande, Vande, Vande Krishna Gopala, Vande, Vande, Vande Krishna Gopala,
Krishna Gopala,
Krishna Gopala, Krishna Gopala, Krishna Gopala, Vande, Vande, Vande Krishna Gopala, Vande, Vande, Vande Krishna Gopala, Vande, Vande Krishna Gopala. We had somebody was saying this one day, sound like one day. But then they were saying it sounds like a song to Jesus. So then we had a version of that with Jesus, Hallelujah. Jesus, 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 Hallelujah. Jesus, 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 Hallelujah. Jesus, Hallelujah. Jesus, Hallelujah. Jesus, Hallelujah. Jesus, Hallelujah. Jesus, 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 Hallelujah. Jesus, 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 Hallelujah. Some more lyrics to it. All like that, one after together.
It feels like the same, like Krishna and Krishna and Shiva or something.
Only one. One day in Kannada means only one. But the one day that comes from Sanskrit is praise to or we bow down to. And when you guys were away, we made one EDM Shambho. It's not fully done yet. It is starting.
Sing.
Shambho, Shambho, Shambho. Shambho,
Shambho, Shambho, Shambho, Shambho, Shambho, Shambho, Shambho, Shambho,
Shiva, 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 Shambho.
Shiva, 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 Shambho,
Some keyboards.
Shiva, 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 Shambho, Shiva, 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 Shambho,
Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva
Mahadeva Shambho, Mahadeva Shambho, 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 Shiva, 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 Shambho, Shiva, 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 Shambho, Shiva, Shambho, Hare Hare, Shiva, Shambho, 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 Shambho.
You can record this song with full EDM beats and give it to our DJ friends. Everyone has heard Govind doing his. Did everyone hear Govind doing his rap, his satsang rap?
No, at the end of the day. Like I need practice.
You want Sugita tomorrow, next time. We have a bit of a music factory going on in Bangalore now. Thank you all so much for being in satsang today. Sadguru Shri Muji Baba ki
Jai. Sadguru Shri Ananta Ji ki Jai.